And a lot of people that have taken things for granted their entire lives here in America are going to find themselves with cuts in Social Security, medical care, unemployment, welfare, food stamps, education, city workers, city governments, law enforcement. It's going to happen, folks, because we see it happening in Europe right now. They're just a little bit ahead of us. Europe is ahead of us. I don't know if it's a few weeks or a few months, but we are going to see that happen here. And when that happens, folks, it's going to send shockwaves throughout the United States. It's going to send shockwaves across cities. The inner city is going to have meltdowns when this happens, because many of them people will not be getting their unemployment checks. Now, I'm not trying to scare you, folks, but this is why I'm talking about this right now, so that you can know in advance that it's coming. That's why I have been warning to get extra food. That's why I have been warning to get closer to God so that God will take care of you. And that's why I have also been challenging to put yourself in the place where God will see you favorably so that you can weather this thing. And you know, folks, most of the people here in America cannot fathom the thought. They cannot imagine the thought that their regular monthly check would go down. Most people can't imagine it happening. This is the United States. That would never, ever happen. Well, let me say this. Another way that it could play out is perhaps you would continue getting your check, but that same amount that you have always received is now worth 50% less because inflation has gotten so bad. That's another way that this thing could play out. Folks, the future does not look good one iota here in this country or for the rest of the world. I've spent the last few radio programs talking about the trigger points that we're facing, the tipping points, and how unsteady things are right now. My friends, these things are going to happen. Nathan, you're scaring me. Do you really think it's going to happen soon or fast or how long? How long do we have? 1 month? 6 months? A year? Folks, that's the part that I do not know. I don't know how long that we have. I just know that I'm supposed to be warning you. That's all. But I don't think it's a long time. I do not see it taking 10 years for this to happen. Or even 5 years. I really believe that this thing is going to be playing out violently in the next 1 or 2 years. Now, I recently had another prophetic dream. Here's what it has to do with. It has to do with the nation of the United States of America is going to, with deception, steal the pension funds, the retirement funds of retirees here in America. I had a dream that America stole the retirement funds and the savings of all Americans. Now, let me explain how this dream happened. In this dream, I was standing outside, and here in Idaho where I live, I have chickens that lay eggs, and so we have a chicken yard with a fence that surrounds the chicken yard. Well, in this dream, I saw a bird come out of the sky and land in our chicken yard. And when it landed, I was pretty far away, so I wasn't sure what kind of bird it was. I thought it was a turkey at first, but as I walked to the chicken yard to see what kind it was, I saw that it was a bald eagle. So a bald eagle landed in our chicken yard, and it was a weak bald eagle. He was limping. He looked emaciated and skinny, and he was limping toward the nesting boxes where our chickens lay eggs. And it walked over to the nesting box, and it couldn't fit inside. There was a little opening where chickens could crawl in, but this eagle could not crawl in. So the eagle fell on its stomach, but while it was falling on its stomach, it changed color. It turned into an orange-looking eagle, orangey brown. So it might have been a golden eagle. So it was on its stomach, and it put its wing inside of the nesting box, and it tried to grab the eggs, but it wasn't able to grab the eggs, so it started breaking them with its wing, and the yolk got on the eagle's wings, and the eagle brought the yolk out and was eating the yolk off of its wing, and then it would put his wing back in and soak up more egg yolk and then bring his wing out to eat more. And it kept doing that till it ate all of the eggs. So I watched this eagle do this, laying on its stomach, and then when it was finished doing this, it stood up with his back facing me, but now he looked very healthy, and it still had that orange-brown color, like a golden eagle. And then the eagle turned around, and when it turned around, his head had changed into the head of a fox, and his face was smiling. And it was a red fox with a grin on his face. And then the dream was over. Well, I have been seeking God about this dream. I've been asking some people. I've been getting some different accounts of what this dream means. And at this point, I believe that this dream is saying that the United States government is the eagle, and it's weak, but it's going to turn into another kind of eagle. So its policies are going to change. America is going to change in its appearance into a hybrid of a new sort of government that is going to steal and nationalize all of the pension funds of America. Now, I talked about this in a previous show, but then I had this dream. This dream's only about a week and a half old. So, folks, with the direction that the United States is going and with the choices that the United States is making right now, every choice they are making is the wrong choice. It is the worst choice that could be made right now for America and for our health, for a long-term fix, for a long-term solution. We're basically making the same wrong choices that we saw America make during the first depression. And you know, folks, the thing that got us into this mess was debt, spending with no regard for the future. The first bailout did that. It spent and the dollar lost value. And now they're about to do it again. And the dollar's going to lose value. And eventually we're going to see the United States crumble into a shadow of what it once was. Now there's another interesting story that kind of makes you wonder if the people that are behind the scenes, the heads of banks and the heads of hedge funds, have already gotten together and they know what's about to happen to this economy. And they know that a huge second leg crash is about to happen because it has been reported that there is a huge volume of insider trading happening right now. Top executives from many corporations in America have been selling their shares of their companies over the last 6 months. And the volume that they have, 120 million shares of stock has sold over the last 6 months by executives who own their stock options. And what that tells us, folks, is that it's possible that some of the executives of these companies have already been given the heads up and they have been told to find their flight and their way out of the present stock market because it's about to come crashing down. When you start looking at all of these trigger points and then you see how people are responding and you start hearing about how executives and billionaires are actually talking amongst themselves and also saying in their newsletters that the United States is done and that they want to leave the country. Folks, this is not good. This can only tell us one thing. Something is up. Something is about to happen and that the economy is about to come crashing down in a very, very violent way. Now, of course, that's not going to be a surprise to many of us because we've been expecting these things for years now. Most of you that are listening are very smart and you know these things that I'm talking about. They're not surprising to you. So you're expecting it to happen. But those of you that are new to this message, to the warning message, may not know about this. So you might be asking yourself, well, how is this thing going to play out? Well, it's going to play out over years. It's going to play out in a mighty bulldozing of the American economy. America is going to lose its empire status. It will no longer be the empire of the world. It will still exist, but it's going to lose a lot of its power, and someone else is going to take its place. Eventually, after the markets become so soiled in poverty, a few years is going to go by. We're going to see inflation like we've never seen before. We're going to see food become very expensive. We're going to see regular things that we took for granted become very expensive. And after this thing plays out for a while, then we're going to transcend into the sword judgment where we will see riots and people that are unhappy. We're going to see mobs. We're going to see tyranny. And eventually we're going to see the United States get invaded and also enter a war. World War III is going to come out of this mess, my friends. And it's real interesting that just recently, a writer for the Washington Post actually made an article and said that the best way for Barack Obama to rescue the United States is to take the United States to war. For us to enter a war with Iran. We need to bomb Iran and get this thing going so that the economy can turn around. He said that it would spur the economy. And if Obama wants to win a second term, he needs to start this war before his election in 2012. That writer went on to say that if you look at FDR during the Great Depression, the way that the United States came out of the Depression back then that lasted 10 years was World War II. So he's using our previous depression as an argument to get us out of this one. And isn't that amazing, folks? If this writer is thinking about it and actually willing to print it and talk about it, then I submit to you that possibly our politicians and our congressmen and our senators and members of committees are also discussing how to spur the economy and that war is the only way to do it. So, in other words, if we're willing to sacrifice our sons and our daughters so that the economy can turn around, then what we're saying is the price for you to be able to go to Walmart and buy plastic toys for a good price is the price of the blood of our children. This is insane madness, my friends. Unfortunately, it's going to happen. It is going to play out. And we are going to see war eventually happen out of this. I don't know which country will be involved, but I do see war coming, because God has also revealed that as well. So again, folks, we are living in crazy times, but as the old saying goes, you ain't seen nothing yet, because it's going to get crazier. And as things become more and more crazy, it's amazing how more comfortable people are getting as the craziness happens.